What's been your experience of or challenges, or how do you see the future of getting partnerships to work across sectors, across?
Thank you, Vinay. That's a great question. Can you flip the slides to the next one? So here's a project that I'm currently doing in Kenya, and it's going to take a little bit of what Amanda was describing as well as a little bit of what Paul was describing, in that my company, my startup, takes technologies from large companies, and in this case it's General Electric, GE, and we take their technologies and then we turn them into and then we configure them so that we can turn them into micro franchises for women. So in this instance, the technology is what allows the women to sell clean water out of that habitat, which is in the center picture. And so my partners in this venture, or in this business, is GE and Greif. Greif is the one who does the storage tanks in the top right corner over there, the storage for the water. And then the SMEs are myself, because I'm the one who brings everybody together, Habitat, who makes that temporary shelter in the middle, and then we have JL Media, who provides all the media relations for bringing this to farm. We always need a domestic company as a partner, because what's different and what's when you're dealing with the emerging markets is that the trust is with the domestic companies. The multinationals don't have as much trust in country, and so what happens is that Safaricom is actually our partner down on the ground in Kenya, and Safaricom is the one who sells the cell phone minutes as well as the prepaid calling cards for phones. They also have right now M-Pesa, which is a currency that you can use on your phones. And the multilaterals, what's critical to this is that when you're dealing with multilaterals, they are the ones who, just like UNIDO and UN Women, they're the ones who identify the they have 3,600 women entrepreneurs across Africa. And of that, they identified a group of women in Nairobi that we used. And then the NGO that we partnered with is Umande, a water one. Can you do the next slide? So in that instance, it was taking technologies and turning them into micro franchises. This is a different way of we do it, and I brought a sample here. And this is a water backpack. And as you'll see in the picture over there, there's a little girl or a woman who usually transports all the water on top of her head in a jug. Sometimes the jugs are actually used and already had chemicals in them, and so they're actually quite contaminated. This innovation that this company called Greif created was taking simple materials of large packaging and turned them into a backpack. And this product is something that could be sold in country, because there's actually 4 different types of businesses women can have from this backpack. So the one is just doing simply the assembly of the backpack. And the second one is actually selling water from the backpack. So what we found out in Africa, and we also have this in Haiti, is that when the women pick and get the water, as they're walking back from their source of water, there are actually plenty of opportunities for her to sell the water from her backpack. The third one is in the more sophisticated cities. Whoops. Oh, sorry. So in this, it has a water tab right here, so you can take down the water. But what was interesting is that you can sell, and this is what, once you give the product to the ladies, it's amazing what they innovate. So they created advertising for various businesses on the bags, and sometimes they paint them, sometimes they sew them. But what happened, and this was something that no one ever anticipated, is because this backpack, and we have them in black and navy in Guatemala, because the backpack is no longer looking like a jug that can only be used, the men started asking, can we get the backpack? So the men started carrying the water because they wanted the backpack, because the backpack could be used not just for water, but the men, on their way to getting the water, they actually used it to carry something else, because there's some liners in here. So it's just the innovation that can happen when you give products to people and they realize what they can do with them. And there's so many companies that are willing to have these products and services, just like Microsoft. And the innovation is really just in making it accessible, affordable, and having the right partners on the ground. can you flip? And this is just the last slide, because to me, it's very important that we know what the ecosystem of successful programs are. There's a lot of different players that make these projects work. It's not just one or the other. You've got the companies who provide the technology, the products and services. You have the governments who provide the technical expertise as well as the access, because without having a government as a partner, whether it's the local government or the national government, it's really hard to make sure you have the trust as well as the social ecosystem for the entrepreneur. You need the NGOs, because the NGOs are actually the ones who know the people the best. And they're the ones who will say if there's a cultural transition that has to happen, if there's any type of excess some beliefs and values that you need to address. And the multilaterals. What's nice about the multilaterals is that this is how these projects scale. All the projects we do is if I can't do them in a minimum of 3 countries, I have to tell the companies or I have to tell the partners that I'm not interested, because it's all about scale. Lastly, you also need academia involved, because what happens is that when you have the local universities involved is they start talking about the projects, and that's how they create awareness of what the issues are in those countries. And lastly, we have investors. And because those social entrepreneurs that are on the ground, the women who are creating these businesses, I'm only creating the opportunity. Somebody's got to be able to fund the women on the ground in order for them to buy the backpacks and then sell them. And that's it.
Thanks, amazing.